Well, I'm here with two fucking meatheads.
Thank you.
And I feel really comfortable. about it.
I appreciate that. We had a good workout this morning.
The workout was good. We visited Pump City.
Yeah, it was brutal but fun. Wasn't too bad, right?
It wasn't too bad. I felt good. The start was hard. The start just getting started was the hardest part.
Yeah.
Which is similar to life, I would say, right?
Speaking of those circuits are tough.
Yeah, circuits are tough. We moved through a lot of bench. My chest is going to be sore and swole. I have to go to the fucking pool today.
Yeah, you got to show off what you got.
Yeah, I mean the pump's going to stay. It's going to stay there. It's going to ride with me all day. So Charlie, Mark, you guys. One thing that I've noticed just in the little time that I've spent with y'all today, and I've followed both of you from Caffeine and Kilos and Slingshot to Bigger, Stronger, Faster.
Cool.
Did I say those in the right order?
Who cares?
It's all the same shit. Who cares? But you guys are no stranger to fucking hard work, right? So you guys are both successful. Y'all have done some really cool shit as far as lifestyle brands and changing a community. But what I want to hear about, something you probably don't get asked a lot, is what are y'all's biggest fuck ups? Like personal, business. Like what when I say what's your biggest fuck up, what just pops into your shaved head, brother?
I've been chipping away at this whole thing for a really long time, and I've had some things work less than others, but I haven't really had like anything that's been horrible. At least in my opinion. Other people might disagree. But I'm not afraid to fail. So I'm not afraid to put all my cards on the table. Not afraid to pull my pants down and show my cock. It's just, we all have one. It's just like, it is what it is. And I'm not afraid to be transparent and just show people my hand. So I've tried a lot of different things in business. Some things have kind of fell flat, but we're in a world where shit's moving really fast. And so nobody really fucking cares. And what I've realized when it comes to my lifting career, again, no one cares. Those people that there could be somebody standing in line at the Arnold Classic for an hour for an autograph. And when they come up to me, I could ask them, hey, what's my best bench? What's my best squat? They don't fucking care. It's us, we're putting our own pressure. Each and every day is a battle against our own selves and a fight against our own selves and a fight against obstacles that we create for ourselves. And so, with that, I don't feel like I've had anything that has really gone badly. Everything has been really like slow. Everything's been fairly like methodical. The gym has been around for 10 years. The gym is free. Slingshot has only made progress from day one. Power Magazine was something I was told not to start. It doesn't make sense to have a free gym. It doesn't make sense to have a print magazine anymore. I've just kind of created my own path, my own way, but it's always been kind of slow and steady. And I've literally been kind of chipping away. So it's like I have my days where I'm like, fuck, man, I wish that would have worked out better. But I don't really I can't think of anything that we've done to where I'm like, man, that blew up in my face.
Yeah.
So
do you think a lot of that's perception of the events or perception of what's gone down, or is that
it could be for sure, because like I fell with 1,085 on my back, and so most people would say like, hey, that's a pretty bad fuck up, right? I tore my pec with 600 pounds in the bench, but I don't have any regrets. All those things they're actually good. They're actually pivot points for other things. Not having money, not having a car, not having a license, not having a bank account, having multiple, having so many parking tickets that my license was revoked, a bunch of shit like that. Having all kinds of different problems ended up kind of leading me to my wife. And my wife in a roundabout way saved my life. It wasn't like I was a drug addict strung out and she saved my life that way. It was more of a general thing, and it was more of a long-term thing. But then also too, like, exploring different things with Charlie in business and communicating with him on stuff over the last several years. He was frustrated with some things that were going on. He wanted some change, and I was going through an issue with my business where I hired somebody that I thought was going to be kind of a sharpshooter. I thought I was bringing in somebody that was going to really help organize the company, because the company's like fairly unorganized, or at least it seems that way.
Yeah.
It is strategic, but it is like fucking chaotic, which I'm sure this company is probably very similar in a lot of ways, because we're out there running. We're a bunch of fucking fullbacks. We got our head down, and we're trying to get the first down all the time. And we don't see anything else. But bringing in that guy and having many, many problems with him, and other employees having issues with him, it created a lot of stress and things like that, but it led us to Charlie. Like, it led us to something better, Falling with 1,085 it was a good pivot point in my life to stop being so fat, get jacked and tan, and to learn. And then the same thing with the 600 pounds, tearing the pec. And it kind of, I was trying to make a comeback in powerlifting again, and it was like, it just wasn't there. It just wasn't in the cards. I can't force anything to happen. I can only try my best, and the results are going to end up happening regardless.
Very nice. I like that. That's a lot. There's a lot that can be said for forced reflection,
Yeah.
And I think, tying a lot of things you said together, like not being scared to fail, not being scared to fuck up, and then admitting it to yourself. Like, oh yeah, I kind of like that may have not been the best situation that you put yourself in with your company, but what can we get out of it? Where are we at now? What can we do going forward? Because really, that present moment is really just an accumulation of the experience up to that time. And it's like, well, how can I reflect on that and figure out what the fuck to do next? And then that's always progress. It's always progress that way.
Yeah, and if you think about, obviously, I wasn't trying to harm my company, just trying to do what's best. And the way I'm looking at it kind of now is like, I'll probably never be great at hiring. I can only become good at firing. And that's how I'm going to find the best, right? Like, if you can't run with us, if you can't participate and you can't be part of what we're doing, then I'm sorry, but you can't work here.
And that's how things move fast.
Right.
You got to remove that dead weight. So
yeah, we're moving fast, and we're not going to know who you are until we get running with you. It's like, I didn't really know. I've known Charlie for many years. I don't really know him until we get off and running. And we are off and running now, and so I'm getting know him better every day.
Very cool. So Charlie,
I'm still around. So
you're still here. How long have you guys been working together?
Yeah, unfortunately, he's still here.
Officially, I put down my first quarter already, so about 4 or 5 months now.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
So you came from Caffeine and Kilos.
Yeah.
So you founded that. You started with nothing with Caffeine and Kilos, right? That was just like an idea. So talk us through, there's a lot of that now. We see, the Tim Ferrisses of the world, that you can build your own business, you can build your own brand. Gary Vaynerchuk's about that, right? And that there's something to be said for the leveraging the media we have, leveraging the opportunities we have to start your own brand. But maybe just talk us through the reality of what that looks like in a landscape of essentially a lifestyle brand.
Yeah, I'll be kind of brief with it. Basically, it all comes down to this: is the main thing you have to focus on when you're doing anything is like why you're doing it, right? So the more I'm around successful people and the more I'm having the opportunity to meet other people, Mark was saying earlier, all these things led to this. There's not really a point that I felt that I really failed. Every successful person or person that I find successful that I've talked to has a very similar aspect or perception on what that actually looks like. And so through those things, what I look at is those are opportunities for growth. Mark was right. I mean, I love my guys. There were some things going on in my company that I wasn't super stoked about, and I kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, maybe there's something for me to be doing here that could be different. And it all kind of worked out for me to be now with Mark. But basically, you have to look at what your focus is going to be on, right? Like, what are you going to put your time into, and what kind of time do you want to spend on it? And so, like, I made a joke the other day. They're talking about firefighters, right? In the last round of hiring, the person's already passed like almost everything. And my buddy Chad Augustine, friends with Mark as well, he says, well, the last part of hiring is like realizing, do I want to live with this person for 3 days, right? Because it's 3 days on, 4 days off, or whatever the split is. And so I think what you have to really look at with whether it's building a brand or it's being successful, different things, is like, if you have the ability to work hard, that's awesome. If you have the focus to actually follow through and get stuff done and be a 10% close, or the last 10% you could do that, that's awesome. What I've learned, one of the things that I've learned now in business is like, who do I want to do that with? Who Absolutely. Do I want to give my time to? How do I want to spend that time? And then in that situation, and this is not giving myself a knock, but in the training environment that I'm at, I'm not the strongest guy. That's on purpose. In the business I'm at, I'm not the number one guy. That's on purpose. I feel that you have the most to grow, for me anyways, by putting myself in that situation. And I still see Mark doing it, even as our head guy, by spending time with Ed or spending time with other people in the industry that pour back into his life so he could redistribute his energy to other people. And so there's just this constant growth. And that's what I think is what people have to look for, is like, what's going to grow you as a person is actually going to be your true identity of what your success is going to be. And it's kind of what you want to make it. Like Mark's the Meathead Millionaire. That's his level of success, making the world a better place to live. He's an amazing father. He's an amazing husband. He's an amazing friend. He's all of those things. Someone else might not be able to be all of those things. But within their own life, you don't have to start a caffeine and kilos. You don't have to do things. Like, do what you want to do and be successful with that, but be happy with it. Right?
Exactly.
Like that's what I think success kind of is.
We'll find that thing, and it takes some diligence. Like there's a hustle and a grind into finding that thing. Figure out what the fuck that thing is. I mean, I was watching. I think it was like Yeti had some
That'll
really
take
cool.
you the longest, is figuring out what that thing is. That'll take you years. Like he wasn't.
I'm 29 now.
Yeah, so you were 26 when you started Caffeine and Kilos or something. 27.
Yeah, right around there. Yeah.
Yeah, so it takes, for some people it happens earlier. For some people it happens later. I was off the grid, with the federal government as far as they're concerned, until I was about 35, so it's different for each person. And it's really easy for people to say, yeah, follow your passion. And I would advise against it in some ways, because I don't think everyone can do what we're doing. Like, unfortunately, like if they could, they would. And I just don't think that they can. There's more people entering into it all the time. And there's some people that are like, they're making good money. Some people are making 50,000, 60,000, 70, 80, 100. Some people are even getting into the millions and stuff with some of these things. But I just think it's far-fetched for everyone to just all of a sudden up and start a clothing brand, or for everyone to out of nowhere start having ebooks and stuff. Just make sure you've been doing it for a while. Make sure you have some clout. Take your fucking time. Caffeine and Kilos was a brilliant idea and a brilliant concept, and it came along at the right time. That's going to be another key factor. If things are lined up and you're like, oh, I got to fucking do this right now. Well, then if it makes sense, then it makes sense. It sounds like it made sense for Onnit when you were describing Aubrey Marcus going to Burning Man and stuff like that. It sounded like a lot of it started to make more sense, right? So if it makes sense at the time, then timing is a key factor too.
When it's the idea of, and then we talk about this a lot with overnight success. Like, that's 10 years in the making, even this, sitting at this podcast talking to you guys, it's like, well, you probably don't see that I coached CrossFit for 7 years, and I was in front of a group of in between 5 and 50 5 times a day for 7 years.
Right.
So there's something to be said for that experience and understanding how to communicate with those people and make complex ideas simple. Right. But you say, well, like, what makes you a professional in X, Y, and Z? It's like, well, it's what I've been fucking doing. It's how I live my life, and I took the time to sit back and say, what actually feels good? What really feels good? What's that? Who am I? Who was I before someone told me to be somebody?
Right.
And I've talked about that pretty openly on this podcast. Like, my wanderings in the woods on fucking mushrooms help a lot with that, because there's nothing there. It's just you, and it's just quiet. You say,
I refer to these like time periods that you have in your life. What you're mentioning, being involved in CrossFit for 7 years and stuff, I refer to as eating a shit sandwich without the bread. And I think that everyone has to do it. Everyone's got to eat shit for a while. I was told that the slingshot concept was not a good idea.
Talk us through this, what the slingshot is really quick, because our audience may not know what that is.
Well, if you don't know what a slingshot is, you got problems.
You're
right? Slingshot is a supportive upper body device for bench press, push-ups, and dips. It allows you to handle more weight for more reps and more sets. Basically, elastic band that goes up on your biceps, and it stretches across your body. In a way, it works as like double muscle. As you lower the bar, as you bring the weights down, the slingshot is stretching, so is your muscle. As you go to push the weight back up, the slingshot is assisting you on the way up. As your muscles are contracting, so is the slingshot. And so it helps to take pressure off your shoulders, your elbows. Really great for anybody who's had shoulder injuries. I've had a lot of people come off of a rotator cuff surgery and jump right into the thing. And I'm like, no, don't take your time. But I've had people have success story after success story with the product.
And so you were told that was a bad idea. Like, what was that? Talk us through a little bit of that resistance.
Yeah, so at the time I was working with a few different companies in the powerlifting space. Dead center, kind of in the middle of my powerlifting career when I was at my strongest. My best numbers, might as well go over them for a second. 1,080 squat, 854 bench press and a 766 deadlift.
Pretty strong.
Those were equipped numbers. Anyway, so the slingshot, is a byproduct of me fucking myself up over and over again. I hold 2 patents with the slingshot product, 2 U.S. patents with the slingshot, and I tell people all the time I'm probably the only patent holder that had to tear his pec twice to fucking get a patent on a product, and anyway, it's a great product, but when I'm trying to describe it to some manufacturers in the beginning, they weren't understanding my concept. No one's going to understand you better than you. No one's going to look after you better than yourself. When I do the seminar later today here at the Onnit Academy, I'm really excited to talk to people about being selfish and how you have to take care of yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of the people that you love, and you can't take care of the people that are around you. And so it's really important that you are your number one fan. And so, kicking around the idea, telling people, hey, I got this concept, it's this stretchy thing. I could probably, cost $50-$60. I don't know, like it'd be somewhere in that range. And it's going to take pressure off your elbows and shoulders. Like, they weren't getting it. They were like, oh, well, they make bench shirts for that. I'm like, well, bench shirts are ridiculous. They cost like $300.
They're absurd.
They're absurd. It takes like 3 people to get them on. You can't even do a full range of motion bench press when you're in a bench shirt. It's a competitive powerlifting thing,
and no one's going to jump on a push up or a dip or something that most people are doing.
Yeah, right.
Just for functional fitness in any kind of way.
But again, a lot of times in life, your weaknesses become your strongest points.
Because they deserve attention. They take your attention because you have to seal those up.
Yeah, right. So I was really weak in school. I hated school so much that it's really hard for me to even bring my kids to school. Mm-hmm. Like, I fucking hated it. I fucking sucked at it. It didn't make me feel good. It made me feel like shit every single day. I felt dumb, and I just sucked at it. So I didn't have a good relationship with that. But that weakness ended up becoming my strength, because now, I meet people all the time, and they're like, oh, you're a genius when it comes to training. Or that. It's like, well, I had to become something, because what the fuck was I going to be? I can't go through my whole life being fat and dumb and weak. So I'm going to have to make up some fucking ground here somewhere by doing something. And, just persistence is what ended up getting the slingshot made. I went to a few different companies. They shut it down. And I knew it was a good idea, but when you keep hearing that it's not a good idea, multiple times, it starts to kind of plant that seed, and you just can't let that seed grow. You can't let any water get onto that seed. You gotta keep thinking about how you're going to make it happen, and not listen to what other people are saying. If you feel it's a good idea, you got to try to figure out a way to move forward. I tell people all the time to embrace their fears and follow through with their dreams, because if you don't have the follow through, you can't really get anything done ever. I hear people all the time, oh, I had an idea for this or an idea for that, and they end up a lot of times dying with their fucking hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
And it's not cool. It's like you need to try to figure out a way to make some of those things happen. So the slingshot has been a huge blessing. It's just something that took a while for me to push through and make happen.
So, I talk a little bit on this show about the difference. There's belief. There's real belief in what you're doing and where you're at, and then there's make believe. Right. They feel kind of similar.
Yeah.
But there's a difference. So, for both of you guys, like, what does it feel like to say, I'm fucking onto something. I don't really care what people say. Like, that's really anchoring in that and pushing through, because there's going to be that big barrier of resistance at some point,
right?
Whether that be, having to learn a skill you don't really understand, how to learn what an organizational chart in a business is, and how to run that, from the ground up. And you've all had things that fall flat. Like, what's the difference in that feeling of true belief when you're onto something? Like, you're about to take a step.
When people start to doubt it, when people start to doubt it and there's a reaction, if there's like no reaction, then you're not onto anything.
Yeah.
But if somebody's like, I don't think that'll work, then a lot of times you're actually onto something. And I think, the key factor there is a lot of people will say, oh, don't listen to the haters. I think listen to them.
They have something.
Listen to them and fucking, use it as ammo. and just continue to fucking load up your gun with more and more ammo. And before you know it, you'll have a whole entire army marching behind you because you'll have so much momentum and so much energy. You're going to have a lot of people that are going to tell you that shit ain't going to work.
Well, and you have to defend your ideas too. You know, we're sitting here, we're talking on mics right now to express an idea that I had. It's like, okay, well, what is that? What does pleasure monkey mean? What is this? What is that? You should have to fucking answer those questions. So you can't answer those questions and you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
People are going to say it's dumb.
Yeah, some people are like,
pleasure monkey, fucking retarded.
What is that? Monkeys jerking off?
Well, retarded monkey would probably be the strongest animal in the world because monkeys and retarded people are really strong.
Yeah. That's some real power right there.
Some true
Maybe
power.
you should change the name to retarded monkey.
I think that is politically incorrect. But
our
we could
group's
use
not really PC, so
you guys can. We'll make a custom logo just for the
custom logo.
But yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for defending the fuck out of your ideas and pushing through, and even if it falls flat,
right?
Like the lessons come from the work any goddamn way,
right?
There's like the results are just what money, like followers on Instagram. That's cool, but that's not real. That's an idea too.
I was telling Mark too, and this is probably can kind of express the way he thinks, and it's the way that I think. We were on the flight over here, and I was watching this documentary, Warren Buffett, and it was so funny where, a lot of the ideas that Mark has or a lot of the mannerisms that he has is very similar to the way and the thought process in which a lot of other successful people think. And it's a lot of the times the way that I think, and I think that's why that connection for me and Mark was really easy, and the identification of who we are in the company is really easy to understand, like those things, right? And so coming from an ownership, CEO, president background, everything that hurt me that I couldn't do, now I can see because I don't have to deal with it, and I could try to help prevent for him to let him be that person, right? So I can see those things. But when you're talking about, like, how do you know it's a good idea, one of the things that I saw that Warren Buffett was talking about, I know Mark does it sometimes without even knowing it, is that I know when something is right is when it becomes infectious. Like, I cannot stop thinking about it. I start researching it. I start looking it up. I start, there's nothing in my being that can't stop thinking about it. And they said that's how Warren Buffett was. When something caught his attention, he had this weird hyper focus where he just couldn't get out of his mind. And when Mark's saying, hey, the haters, the haters, right there, if it doesn't matter what anyone's saying, that it's a truth to you, or this shit's gonna hit, or this shit is right, and you just can't stop thinking about it. You have to be the right person to know that, which sounds horrible, but you also have to be the right person to know that it's the right thing. Because some people will have that grab hold of them and it's the wrong thing, right? But that's why I was saying earlier, to be successful, there's more steps than what we're talking about. It also has to land, and not to be disingenuous to the group here, but it has to be to the right person.
Yeah.
Because, I've read, Talent Code, Outliers, these different books, and a lot of it is just like the time you put in, the time of life you're at, and Mark was saying, the opportunity. A lot of Mark's earlier, you have CT doing filming on Mark. He's like, man, Mark's good at this. He's like, yeah, it's like I've been doing it for 10 years, right?
I'm a natural for 10 years.
I'm a natural for 10 years. It's like the best one-liner ever. And I was telling CT, I was like, bro, he's like the king of improv. Before he did all of this, he had a whole wrestling career. So you talk about being in front of people for 7 years coaching. He's been in front of a camera his entire life pretty much.
Entertaining and making things land.
And making things, And so I'm not taking away from what he's doing, but it also goes to show you too, and Mark talks about all the time, if you want to do something substantial, you have to put in time. Caffeine and Kilos look like it just happened, but I've been a coach. I've been coaching or working in a gym since I've been 15 years old.
Yep.
And 26 is when I started Caffeine and Kilos, and that was after growing a successful gym. I own a gym with my wife for years. It doesn't just happen. It seems like that to everybody that doesn't want to believe that you worked for it, and that's the misconception.
Yeah, I had that. I was on a podcast with my boys at Mind Pump Media, and they said, you're really talented. You're talented at this. So the word talent came up, and I was like, talent is such fucking bullshit to me. Now there's a certain point of what is success made of, and there's an ability. Ability is likely no one would give a fuck who LeBron James was if he was 5'10". You know,
Yeah.
Probably would have played in college, and that's it.
He was born with some freakish genetics, right?
Ability, yeah, but the talent came from the work.
Right.
And that's something to be said. And it's there's a talent to talking to people, there's a talent to all this stuff, but it came from looking back on my, having an objective view of my entire life and say, what is this whole experience kind of set me up to be successful at? Mm-hmm. And that's what you're saying the same thing. It's like,
I'm just echoing what Mark's saying.
And Mark
right?
said the same thing. It's like, we looking back and be like, okay, so these things really affect. If I really want to affect people, that's the goal, or whatever. I really want to make money. Whatever, you can have whatever end goal you want. But what has my experience up to now set me up for?
Correct.
And then can I adjust the future to maybe seal up some skills that I need to work on, or some weaknesses, or really double down on my strengths? Like, what's the best investment of my time going forward, objectively, and not living in a goddamn fairy tale?
I think a lot of people don't understand is like the only thing you can really give somebody is information. That's the only thing we can really exchange as human beings. Like I could give you like money and stuff like that, but that'll come and go, pretty quickly. And then you get people on like Instagram or something. Hey, give me a shout out, and like that's not going to. Okay, Joe Rogan gives you a shout out. It's fucking Joe Rogan. Like that'll actually, you'll have a lot more followers and stuff like that. But it won't really do what you think it's going to do. I think that people they have this this mindset of like getting $50 today or $60 today for doing a job. They do a job in exchange for cash. They do a job for a few hours in exchange for money. We have people all the time that are accepting sponsorships for $200 a month, and it's like you're really devaluing yourself when you think $200 a month is going to really move the needle in comparison to like what our company could do for some of these people. So there's just so many other factors that go into all that, and I think a lot of people are just they're kind of looking for the quick buck, and they're not thinking more long term.
Yeah.
For me, I'm always thinking like long term, and lifting taught me that. The stuff in the gym has taught me that it took forever for me to even look like I lifted, because I started at such a young age. I started around 12, and in comparison to my friends at 18 or so, I looked like I lifted, but I didn't really look like the dudes I saw in the gym until I was like 20, 22, 23 years old. It took a long time, many, many years, a decade of lifting before you really saw like, the results I was looking for anyway.
Yeah, that's really funny. When people are like, yeah, this is going to blow up. It's like, yeah, I'm really looking for this thing to do well in like 3 years. People are like, what? Why that long? It's like, because that's how long it fucking takes to do something. And that's 3 years is a really ambitious, approach if you really want to make something happen. But if you look at anybody who does that, you can go buy 100,000 Instagram followers.
Right.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, what the fuck are you going to do with them? Like if you shout me out, if we do this, all of a sudden I have 100,000 Instagram followers. What am I going to do with them?
Right.
Am I going to add any value to their day? If everyone, there's also something to be said for the fact that everybody's glued to their phone all the times anyway.
Right.
So if they're going to be there, you might as well give them some valuable shit. You do a great job with that with your Instagram. Super entertaining.
Yeah, we try to blow that shit up as much as we can. But it goes back to your personal development. Mm-hmm. You can't be artificial. You can't be hollow. You wouldn't be able to come here and work with Aubrey Marcus and work with all these great people at Onnit if you didn't have a solid history. If you didn't have a solid foundation and a solid amount of information, guys like that, they look at you and it takes them 5 seconds to figure it out. It's like, this guy's not ready. You're going to do something. You're going to do something different, or you're not going to work for us at all, or whatever the situation is. It doesn't take them long to figure it out, and the reason why they know it so quick is because they've been in the same spot. They haven't been ready before. I haven't been ready before. I haven't been ready for certain opportunities, and it just takes a lot of time.
Yeah. And
you're like kicking yourself. You're like, fuck, man, I wish I was able to get that, but it didn't happen for a reason. It's going to happen at some other time.
Yeah. Be where you are when you're there. You can always be chasing that carrot and sticking it in front of you. But it's like, there's a part that's ambition where it's like, I want to keep moving that direction, but be conscious of where you are and always put yourself a little bit uncomfortable of a position.
There's a saying that I like a lot, and it says that your personal development has to kind of follow a lot of the other things that are going on in your life. When using lifting as an example, you could be an absolute beast in the gym. We know guys that deadlift 900 pounds. We know guys that deadlift 900 pounds and people don't know who they are. They have 900 followers or something like that on Instagram, or a few thousand or something.
One follower per pound on the deadlift.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Basically, and they're not very known, and it's because their personal development doesn't match the weights that they move. They don't have like an experience to share with anybody. Like, what do you have a story, or are you just some freak monster that can move around some weight? Because that's cool. Like if you're just a freak and you move around some weight, that's cool. But you still have to share whatever the story is. Like if you came on camera and said, "Look, motherfuckers, I just happen to be better than everybody else. This is the way it is. I'm going to deadlift 900 pounds." a lot of people would be attracted to that, but there has to be a story that matches it. Yeah. And this saying goes like this. They say, like, if you were to divide the world's money up equally to everybody, the money would end up back in the hands of the rich very shortly. And it's because your personal development has to match the amount of money that you're making. Like, somebody could have $500,000, but if their personal development doesn't match that, then if they're going to try to sink that $500,000 into a business or something, the money's going to go right out the fucking window.
Yeah, true that. And that's the world we live in. The beauty of this is that transparency is king now. Transparency and sharing. You have to be able to tell a story, and it can't be bullshit. Right. It can for a little while. You can get somewhere being disingenuous, but at the end of the day, like, you're gonna get found out.
I think in some cases it can work. Maybe you don't have to share that much of yourself when it comes to Instagram. It seems like the girls maybe get away with it more than the guys.
Not me. I can't.
Because they can show their ass and stuff like that, and they can have a few million followers, and they can actually be, like, who would ever thought that it would be a thing? But like, there's Instagram models that are making some money.
Mark. They're influencers.
Yeah, there you go. that are making some
buying my diet tea,
making some serious money.
Teeth whitening, though.
Yeah.
Where would we be in this fucking world without teeth whitening and diet tea?
Oh my God!
I'd probably use both
at the same time.
Yeah.
I want a straw from my teeth whitening thing into my diet tea, so I can drink tea and whiten.
But again, it's like how long will that last? How proud are you of that?
And how short term is that thought process? Even if you're saying, okay, it's 1 million followers and I'm showing my butt. Well, let's think about how nice your butt's going to be in another 5-10 years.
It's fleeting. Yeah, it's a losing game for sure.
It's a losing game, right?
How are you going to hold on to that ass?
Yeah, and we know, and me and Mark, because of being in the industry, we know a lot of people where they're making a lot of their currency based upon an image of themselves. But if it's only an image, unfortunately, images fade. We all get older. So if you look at that, there's only a short term in which you can actually do that. And more power to you if you can do it. But is that what you want to be known for at that time? And then do you want to be known as the person that was that?
Yeah.
Which I think sometimes is worse, because then you live the second part of your career in a phase that you never were what you once were.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. And I think when people create their identity around that, that's where it gets really dangerous.
Yeah,
it's
we
like,
talked about that too, yeah.
You can express that on Instagram and leverage the medium for whatever fucking means you want, right? But when you, in your real life, becomes your identity, well, then when it goes away, and it's going to go away, then you're in a really shitty spot. Right. Then what do you do? Then
that's what Mark was speaking on too, like, not to cut you off, but that's what Mark's speaking on too, is like, have more substance. Don't think about the short term. Think about the long term game. And a lot of people in a society now where everyone wants something instantly. Everyone wants to be successful right now. They want to do those things. The most successful people in this world, or even moderate successful people, it never happens like that. And the people that actually can get there, they're getting there with the means that's not sustainable. Yeah. So if you do reach it, you can't hold on to it because it was developed too quickly.
Well, you weren't ready for it, man. You fell into some shit that you weren't ready for.
Exactly, because it didn't match the personal development.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I love it. So, man, we talked a lot about fucking success already. This is great. I love it.
Yeah.
So balancing it out, right? So say you're in this place and we're all working. Everybody's fucking working hard, right? Hard work, I feel like, if you surround yourself with the right people, isn't scarce. But what about those times when you want to go have a little fun? Then what do we do?
Yeah, I mean, are you kind of talking about balance?
Let's talk about balance.
Yeah, so
and when balance should exist and when it shouldn't exist. Because it's a hot topic these days.
It's a lot of people are talking about it quite a bit, and I think unfortunately, if you're going to be a savage at something, you're not going to have the balance that you may want. However, when you start to make money, it can allow you more freedom. So if like for myself, like I own my car, so I don't have car payments. So I don't have to worry. Like, it's one less thing to worry about. The gym that I own, the gym is free, but the gym is really inexpensive. Like, I have enough currency coming in to where that's just it's not a problem. It's not an issue. It's not something I really think about. And so for me, that provides me the freedom of, going home to the wife and saying, hey, like, I got to go on this like business trip to do this thing for 3 or 4 days. She understands, she doesn't want me to go. I don't really want to go all the time. I love coming here. This is fucking awesome, but I don't really want to be away from home. I don't really want to be away from my wife and kids. And I want to kind of limit that to a certain extent, but they all understand, and we all have an understanding of kind of what the goal is. Yeah. And so part of their job is to help me to get to my goal, because it's an enjoyed family goal. And then, what we do as a family, I was telling Charlie the other day, like my kids, get into a fight, they start yelling, and then the wife gets frustrated and I get frustrated. We're all yelling. I sit everybody down and say, like, that's not what this house is about. That's not how things are going to happen in this house. We're not going to be yelling and screaming at each other. Like, let's leave that to the neighbors next door. Let's leave that to so-and-so or whatever, right? Because in this house, we have some goals that we're trying to reach. We're trying to get to some of those goals. Hopefully we can all help each other reach some of those goals. But if anyone's frustrated, if anybody's mad, let's just talk about it. We don't need to be like yelling and screaming at each other. This is a house that's set up for fun. And we have a pool and we have a hot tub and we got all these great things. Let's talk about cool shit. Let's talk about going to the movies. Let's talk about going on vacation. Let's talk about doing these other things. So the finances can help with a little bit of freedom where you don't have the same burdens and the same stresses. There's still research that shows that financial stress is still the number one cause of divorce, but I think it's probably Instagram. But yeah, anyway, I mean, to try to balance it out is just to go from one thing to another. And the ability to focus, in my opinion, is the ability to like try to block everything else out. So it's great having Charlie with me. It's great having some really great people in my business that if I need to step away from the business, I can. I don't have to worry about it. It's going to be fine. And also I need to be okay with the fact that, you know what, sometimes it might even be better off without me.
Yeah.
Because they're all going to share ideas and concepts that are going to be different than what I think of. And that's okay. And I'll be gone for a couple of days. When I come back, everything will pick up right where we left off or even better.
Something you said there really, really resonated with me. And that was that your family has goals. Like your family has, like not Mark has goals. I mean, you obviously do, but it becomes a team, a tribe, and it's we. Like, because at the end of the day,
tribe is a good way to put it. Yeah, we're a little tribe.
It is, and that's your gym tribe and your family tribe. And it's when something gets done. This is the biggest thing that I see some of the most successful leaders do. And when you're at the top at that like CEO level, you have a big split here where it's like we. Is it we and ours, or is it mine and me? Right. And that the power of we is really, really strong. Because if you really emphasize that, like this is our mission, we're doing this, we're together on this, even though are you the front facer? Yeah. Are you the one traveling? Right. Yeah. But to think that your wife isn't carrying a huge load in doing that, it would be super naive and kind of a dick move. Right? Absolutely. And keeping that mentality within your business, within your family, within your friends, knowing that in your closest people, that's a really valuable thing that you have to look back on and do and move forward together and kind of almost teeter-totter each other whenever you have the opportunity.
A huge part of what we're doing here at Slingshot and at Super Training Gym is to, of course, I'm trying to advance my own life, right? Obviously. And of course, I'm trying to, build the company up as big as I can. I'm competitive and I want to, have a drive and I have goals and so on, right? But I'm also trying to provide a life for everybody that's within the company. Anybody who works with the company right now, who knows as the company moves forward, because the company will just need to have bodies at some point. But right now, we don't have a lot of employees. So the people that are in now, they can make their whole life off of what we're doing now. Yeah. And it's just a matter of, people just continuing to get work done, people continuing to communicate with each other, and they can make a career out of what we're doing currently. And they don't have to ever really think about leaving or going anywhere else unless they wanted to, So there's a lot of opportunity, and I'm trying to provide that opportunity. We have many situations with many different people. We had a situation come up recently where we had a worker that wanted to pursue another job, and we kind of sat down and said, what's this other job about? Why are you trying to take another job? We love having you here. You provide too much value for us here, and we want you here. And they explained their situation, and we said, well, we're just going to pay for your situation that you're in. We're going to fucking get rid of that problem for you, and we want you here at Slingshot. We don't want you leaving, and so, and the person, they broke down and they were they were emotional because it was such a big deal to them. But I don't need to go and talk to 20 people. I don't need to go to talk to like the head of legal to fucking get a paycheck and so on, right? It's like we just say, okay, well, that's the situation. All right, well, it makes sense for us to do this. Okay, cool. Boom, write a check, done deal. That kind of shit.
That kind of shit's contagious, man. And that's how you create a culture, because that's super genuine. Even, when I met you yesterday, I was just hitting the speed bag.
Yeah. I didn't even know who you were.
You didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, you're like, hey, let me show you a couple of things real quick. And I love being coached. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's show me what you got. And that's how this, we end up sitting here. But you exude that, and Charlie does too. Like we said and talked about strategy and business, and that it just happened. There wasn't a whole lot of trying, but in a company culture, like that is so rare and valuable that someone's going to step up without thinking twice. But of course, we're going to take care of you. Like you're trading your time, your experience, your life to be here.
I really value the people that are around me, and I'm big on sayings, and I hear these sayings, and I try to capture them, and I try to remember them, and I try to share them with other people. But the greatest way to have a big impact on the world is to go home and love your family, and you can take that as an extension, like. Your
chosen family.
You have you have your family, right? But then you kind of have your network of people too, and it's cool to make a post, and it's cool to get recognition. It's cool to go to these shows and have people lined up for autographs and pictures, and like all that shit's awesome. And it's unbelievable that has ever even happened to me. I'm still in shock of it. It's an interesting thing that's happened, But if I can't impact the people that are around me, then what the fuck am I actually doing?
Yeah.
If I can't impact my 13-year-old son to make good decisions and to go towards whatever it is his goals are, or my 9-year-old daughter, Quinn, if I can't encourage her to express, she likes art, if I can't encourage her to, if I'm not there for that shit, then I ain't there for that shit. And I'm no good to anybody. Like if I'm not being a good dad, if I'm not being a good husband, it's like everything else is actually kind of just fake.
It's bullshit. You're actually right. If you can't take care of the two people that probably
that's
mean the most
biggest
to you in the whole
responsibility
world,
in my life.
Then who the fuck cares about the 300,000 Instagram followers?
Right.
Because you're not helping them out at all.
Yeah.
That's something to be said for that. And coming from a really small town, and I never try to take for granted the amount of like just privilege that I have as a human being, right? But I also saw the person who gave me that privilege didn't have it. Right. Like I got the luxury of getting to sit and think, what could I possibly do with my life? I had the time to sit back. What could I do? I don't know. Let me figure this out.
That's the way I look at it too.
Let me fuck it a few times. But the person who gave me that life, my granddad, who I grew up with, he never stopped working. He didn't have a chance to think and he's thinking about that now, and he's 70. But it's like he's getting a chance to say, okay, and what can I do with the I'm alone now. What can I do for the next 10 or so years? And
those were different times too.
It was, but
in his defense,
the gratitude for that, and on my end, I never try to overlook that,
right?
Because then you're in that situation where now your daughter, she loves art, right? Well, you're in a situation where you've had enough experience, you can say, explore that, see what that is, because you're going to learn something there. You may end up being an accountant, who knows? But it's like, but it's like you're going to learn a lesson.
She may be an accountant that has paintings on the wall. Yeah, who knows?
She may paint some fucking spreadsheets. Who knows? But it's but it's like you know to value those experiences, and there's something to be learned there. Something you said in the gym today, and you've kind of echoed it a couple of times, was it the hardest battle you'll face is against yourself?
Yeah.
So as we get the last little bit of this podcast and start wrapping this thing up, like, how do you win the battle against yourself?
I'll have Charlie talk about it for a minute. See how he fights himself every morning.
Yeah, how do you win the battle against yourself?
He wakes up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know how that battle goes.
3 a.m. alarm on your phone.
Yeah, so I wake up my plan to wake up every morning is 4. Sometimes my son requires me to wake up at 3 and help out.
You got a 5-month-old, right?
I got a 5-month-old, and shout out to my wife. I mean, like Mark was saying, like living a life of isolation is like
his baby's super cute and super fat. He's got big old fat cheeks.
You got a fat baby?
He's the fattest in the world. Yeah, he's cute. We call him the champ. Me and Mark call him the champ. But
he looks like a sumo wrestler.
Yeah,
we'll show you a picture.
Yeah, but they said like in jail, the worst thing you could do to someone is isolate them. Right? It's like the worst form of punishment. Well, kind of touching back on what Mark was saying too, and I'll circle back to what you asked is that you could be famous and still be isolated, right? And it's like, it's ridiculous to think that, but it is true, because you think that everything you're searching for is potentially somewhere else, and it's not. And so that's another reason why I like working with Mark. And I told him, I was like, you have a family-owned business where you and your wife work together, and that's what me and my wife did with our gym. And knowing that he wants to have that impact on his family and the people around him makes me proud to work in his company. And I think that's something that not a lot of people will get. And we talk a lot of times. My buddy John North, he says that money are freedom tokens, right? And Mark talks about putting points on the scoreboard. And as Mark was talking about those things, the Meathead Millionaire, the funny videos, all those different things, he has a life in show business. He's out there. He's having fun. But the real thing is that people have a hard time with hearing those words. And what Mark says is that doing these things gives me the opportunity to have a bigger effect on the world. It's just more opportunity. So everything that we make within the company to build up what Mark's doing, or Mark makes in the company to build up what it's doing, it's to give back, right? And not only giving back to the people the information, but he's also able to go back and give to his family and provide for them, not only finance, but love, right? And so that's one of the things. And when we talk about the question that was asked is like, how do you fight yourself? I think fighting yourself is really fighting in yourself what excuse you're going to make for yourself not to be successful. Because there's so many things that will say your own self-conscious will like kind of fuck you all the time. You know, I don't know if you could hit that squat. And then you're telling yourself like, fuck yeah, I can't. Like you're going back and forth, or, you know, why are you waking up this early? Why do you do it on the weekends? Why are you programming yourself to do this? Why this? Why that? That question of why is always resounding within inside your body, and it's always fighting against you.
When it's like, why do you deserve that promotion?
Why do you
deserve this good relationship? Why do you deserve all those things? Yeah.
And what I really believe that question is a challenge from yourself. So, you have to respond to the challenge, and within that moment, and I talk about this in a lot of stuff that I go over as well. My personal stuff is you literally have only two options of a response: to be positive or be negative. Mm-hmm. That's it. In life, that's really it. Like, are you going to act in a positive manner, or are you going to be negative? And Mark said, hey, like, I'm getting to this point where, like, I turned to the guy that if you're not running with us, you're going to end up fired. Within that situation, someone might hear and they go, holy fuck, I'm on the chopping board, right?
Oh, man.
But, like, with me, I like hearing that, because the positivity I hear out of that is that I need to create opportunity. Yeah. And I have an opportunity every day to do that. And the people that work with us do. And then if you're not someone that's working within our company, what kind of effect can you have on your own life every day? Because the next day is never guaranteed, right? So the next day is never guaranteed. I think it was Coach Tommy Moffitt. I was interviewing him, and he said, hey, at the end, I think it was him or Coach Gail Hatch, one of the two. One of their interviews, they said, at the end of my day, when I put my head on my pillow, I want to know I gave my best effort. And if I could do that every single day, then I know I won, right? And I think that's fighting yourself, right? That's how you fight the battles. Yeah. Choosing to be positive.
Yeah, choosing to be positive. And you got to call bullshit on your own self-doubt sometimes.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so look at a situation and say, and you get that little like voice in the back of your head that says, no, you can't do that. And you say, fuck you, yes I can, and I will. Yeah. And if I don't this time, I'm going to fucking find out how. I'm going to figure out a way how.
Or you can inverse that, and yourself says, you know what? I deserve this. Yeah. That's the worst thing you could ever hear in your own mind, right? Yeah. It's like no, I need to earn that. Right?
Yeah, there's a difference in deserving it from your effort versus being entitled to it.
Correct.
Exactly.
And that's something that I see every day.
That could go with anything, like a cheat meal or going out to drink, or you could apply it to anything.
Yeah,
exactly. Absolutely.
And a lot of my personal growth has happened within the last 3 months, being next to this guy every day and just hearing the way that he talks. His one-liners are the funniest shit ever.
The funniest shit.
But no, I tell Mark, and not to put him on the spot, but a lot of people see his Instagram. A lot of people see Mark Bell on YouTube. A lot of people will see him in front of people and fuck your elbow and, like you're either in, you're in the way, or they'll see different things, not to throw him under the bus, or ruin his tough guy image. One of the most caring, respecting, loving people I've ever met in my entire life. And I know that when I made that decision to be a part of this company, I learned that even more, and I couldn't be happier with my decision. So I'm stoked to be working with
Congratulations, brother.
him and Andy and the family.
Yeah. It's awesome. And who you are when the camera's not on you really is what really fucking matters, man.
Yeah.
It's huge. And that says a lot about, I mean, if you've been around enough people that are quote unquote high profile or influencers, like
if he was a tool bag, I would have been like, fuck man, I'm out.
You wouldn't be there.
Yeah, because I don't want to spend my time with someone like that. Yeah. Like I've already given so much of my life trying to find what I want to do. Yeah. And at this point now I kind of have a choice. This is where I'm at.
Power of choice, my man.
I think when you're talking about, my quote of talking about fighting against yourself every day, is because I think that we tend to make up shit. We tend to make up stuff. A football team, right, that wins the Super Bowl. Oh, everybody counted us out. Da 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 da. It's like, well, no one really counted you out. You counted yourselves out, and that was like your battle cry to win, right?
You
you're
imagine
at the
some
championship
struggle
game.
to give yourself a little bit of a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah,
you,
it's like
you manufactured that.
It's like Tom Brady, and you're like, no, everybody expects you to win every year, actually.
Yeah. Even when they were down and they talked about the Super Bowl
even
a lot
when
because,
even when you didn't play the first 4 games, and whatever the hell happened, right? Like,
no one's surprised.
You're right, and I think that that's what we're giving a lot of gravity, and we're giving a lot of confirmation. We see a hater say something, and it's like reaffirming like what we already thought, and that's why it makes us go fucking crazy, because it's like
those are the comments that hurt the worst.
It's like a half truth, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like a little jab, and you're like, motherfucker, you get all pissed off, right? But I think that it's already something that you had in your brain. You're already halfway talking yourself out of something, and like, to me, I think you got to kind of talk yourself off the ledge every single day. The second that you wake up, you're like for me, I don't have like a job, I don't have like something to go and like do necessarily. It's kind of all up to me, like where I do it, when I do it, like make a meeting with him, make a meeting with so and so. And it's like, so for myself, waking up and just being like, what am I going to eat? No, it doesn't work that way. It's like, I wake up, I start to make some choices. I'm like, how do I move forward? How do I progress each and every day? You wake up, you use the bathroom, and you go to do these different things. Do you wake up you have a choice. You can wake up with your fucking shoulders slumped and be like, fuck, man, I'm sore from yesterday. Or you can wake up and be like, fuck, man, I'm sore from yesterday. Like, that feels like I feel alive. That feels fucking like that hurts. And I know Charlie's hurting because he did the same fucking workout I did. And that really
that text over, like, dude,
and he's not as strong, so he must be dead.
Yeah, I can be like, man, that really sucked, but we're going to do it today. We're going to get after it. We're going to move around even more, and we're going to feel even better about ourselves. And it's a matter of kind of, the greatest respect that you can earn is self-respect. And I think the way that you earn it is by consistently winning those battles with yourself when you're like, oh, should I have that, ice cream, or should I, anything that's veering off, I think it just needs to be earned or justified in some way. It needs to be worked out in your brain, so you're not going like haywire all the time.
Yeah. And with those little choices will bleed into the rest of your life, into the big decision.
And they're pulses, and they're quick. Those pulses they're fast. They don't last very long. Whether you're talking about like something as simple as cheating on a diet, or you're talking about something way more complicated like cheating on your wife. Yeah. It's like those pulses are quick, and they come and they go, and there's a lot of distractions. We have these, as you called it earlier, distraction machine, the cell phone. And are you going to sit and spend 20 minutes on Instagram when you can spend 20 minutes doing something better? Or are you trying to actually like make a post and have a nice impact on people? Like, that's that's a different thing.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
Or are you going to spend your time with there's a lot of options, right? There's a lot of options. And so each and every day is a battle to try to organize all those thoughts and get yourself fucking head in the right direction.
And you got to know the mission, man. You've got to fucking know why you're doing anything.
Right.
And if you can anchor to that and remind yourself, that's one thing I've seen a lot of successful people is they can always, when it does come to that really difficult decision, you can remind yourself like, why the fuck am I doing this?
You think about a lot of the self-talk that you have to even just exercise, I'm going to start to do this again, or I want to increase my squat, or I want a bigger chest, or I want bigger, whatever the conversation is, I want to be leaner. Any of it.
You named all mine.
Yeah, right. That's for most people. Tomorrow. Most people want it. Most people want it all, right? When you start to think about those things, you get all excited. Maybe you even watch a YouTube video. Somebody got you pumped. You watch an old thing on Arnold, or you watch a YouTube video, gets you all hyped up. And then there you are, just a few hours later, fucking up your own plan. Like somebody's like, hey man, like, you want to go to this like concert tonight? And you're like, I don't know, I was going to train. And you're like, what time is it going to be at? Oh, it's at, 8 o'clock. And then you're thinking about the drive. And then you're like, oh, yeah, fuck the workout. Next thing you know, you're like off doing something totally different from the exact opposite plan that you just had a conversation with yourself for. So I think, follow through with your shit. If you're going to have if you're going to have a conversation with yourself, which many of us do, there's a reason why all that happened. There's a reason why you're in the gym. You're not in the gym because your muscles told you to go there. You're in the gym because your brain fucking told you to get there. At some point, you made a decision that you were not happy with the way that you looked. You were not happy with your current strength level or body fat or whatever it was. You wanted to attract chicks. You wanted to get a man bun. You wanted to get lean. You wanted the ladies to be excited, right? And you wanted to lift women over your head and various things. And
Who's he talking about?
Yeah, I
don't know, man. I don't know.
You made this decision. You made this like pact with yourself, and then there you are, like fucking it up later. So I think, just always ask yourself as you go through your day, how is this helping me? How's this shit help? Like I just said, I was going to do this. Tell other people your goals. Tell other people what you want to do. He was telling me he wants to bench over 300. Wants to bench 315. Once you start putting that out,
315, bro.
No, I've hit from the bench press my entire life.
You can leave the headset there and you need to be in the gym right now.
I'll hit 315 right now on a slinger out there.
Yeah, but you want to tell people about your goals. If it's somebody who's heavier and they want to lose weight, tell people what you want to do, because then when they see you with the Oreo cookie, they're going to be like, what the fuck are you doing, you fat bastard?
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Put the Oreo down, motherfucker.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's
you need
huge.
those people in your life, man.
To echo that, accountability is huge. I've always been big on that. And I told you the other day, I think I blew my knee out, but why I did it was I was in the gym by myself working out, but I live streamed my workout on Instagram Live because I knew even if one person was viewing, I couldn't miss in front of somebody.
Yeah.
Like I had to make it.
Yeah,
so I think that's huge. Letting people know about your goals is really big.
And what's our goal?
Take over the world.
Well, there's that.
But we have the
another
world a
goal.
better place to live.
There's that goal. We have other goals. We have many goals.
All your goals. We're men and many goals here.
Yeah, we have many goals. Our goal,
I'm
it's
Pinky,
not
he's the
it's
brain.
not the end game, but it's a goal. Our goal, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, if you're listening.
That's the immediate goal.
Yeah. We're trying to get The Rock on the podcast. Along with, we also need Bo Jackson, too. We've been trying to work on both these guys.
We're trying to get The Rock.
If The Rock is listening to this podcast, I'm going to feel like I've made
He's clearly
something.
listening.
Yeah.
He's clearly paying attention.
We were at TSA check through, and I'm wearing a red tank top, and the woman goes, "Hey, that kind of looks like a Baywatch look." I'm like, "You saying I look like The Rock?" She goes, "No." And I was like, "Oh, so I'm like the Pebble?" She's like, "That's about right." So Rock, help me out. We got to get over here.
Dwayne Johnson.
You got to come train with me and Mark.
I'm just trying to get on as many podcasts as I can, too. I think it's important to share information with people. And if I'm just on my own all the time, then that's only going to do so much.
Well, it's such a cool medium, man, and a way to express yourself in your life. It's
fucking fun.
It's so fun, dude. We had such a good time with this shit. Yeah. And truth be told, we didn't know what the fuck we were going to talk about when we sat down.
No, but those mushrooms helped a lot.
Shit.
Jeez.
The pre-workout mushrooms?
Yeah.
Shout out to Shroom Tech Sport.
Is that a thing?
That's what Shroom Tech is a thing. Pre-workout mushrooms from
All right.
onit.com.
Nice.
/monkey. All right, guys. So where can everybody find y'all? Let's wrap this thing up. Charlie, where you at?
Mine's easy. Just go look at Mark's page and you'll find me.
So
at Charlie Zamora _ on Instagram. Most of my social media is right there. On my
are there
Instagram.
pictures of your fat baby on there?
Oh, yeah.
He's
He's everywhere.
Star.
And if you Google Charlie Zamora, the first search is Charlie Zamora's wife. So if you want to have some
Damn,
fun,
dude.
you could just
Well
go search
done.
my wife, Misha Zamora. Most
You're living
people,
the right life.
Most people like her better than me. And Mark said the reason why he hired me is because my wife's hot.
Mm-hmm. See,
That's a true story.
I've been working that angle as well.
His
That's my goal there.
his baby is starting to look like Snaggletooth now because he's got the little tooth coming in. You ever
he has
see that
first tooth
cartoon
coming
with
in.
the guy with the little tooth? But yeah, he's
All right,
super
where you
cute.
at? Where you at on the interwebs, Mark?
At Mark Smelly Bell on Instagram and Twitter, and on the youtube.com/supertraining06. Check out howmuchyoubench.net for the best products in the world for getting stronger.
And I can testify to the badassness of all y'all's content. Y'all put out some great shit.
Thank you.
Man, thanks for hanging out today. This has been fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Good
Fun
day.
few hours. And we'll see y'all around.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, dude.
Later.
Thanks for listening to the show, everybody. If you love this show, the best way to support it is by going to iTunes, leaving a 5-star review, giving us some kind words, and then check out our sponsors, Onnit.com and Perfect Keto. These guys have really done a lot to support this show, and I'm so, so grateful for them, so grateful for you for listening, and I hope this really just adds a little bit of value to your day. Thank you so much. Have an awesome day. Much love, guys.